The Galactic Empire's eye on Earth. In the vast expanse of space where stars and planets glitter like diamonds scattered across a velvet sky, the Galactic Empire ruled with an iron fist. This mighty empire controlled countless worlds, each one teeming with resources and life. The Empire's capital, a sprawling fortress orbiting a brilliant blue star, was a hub of power and ambition. The leaders of the Empire were known for their ruthless efficiency and their unquenchable thirst for more. Among the many planets under the Empire's rule, one stood out in their latest strategic meeting. Earth. A small blue planet in the outer reaches of the galaxy, Earth had somehow caught the attention of the Empire's top commanders. It was not the most advanced world in the galaxy, nor was it rich in resources compared to others. Yet, the Empire's interest was piqued. The Empire's high command, a group of powerful beings with sharp eyes and colder hearts, sat around a massive round table in their conference room. Holographic images of various planets spun in the air above the table, with Earth highlighted in a shimmering blue. The Empire's supreme leader, a tall, shadowy figure with an air of authority, looked down at the tiny planet. His eyes glinted with a mix of curiosity and ambition. "Earth," he said in a voice that echoed through the room. "This planet has remained unnoticed for far too long. It is time we bring it into our fold." A murmur of agreement swept through the room. The Empire's advisors, each one clad in dark, imposing uniforms, nodded solemnly. They were used to dealing with planets that posed little threat. But Earth was different. It had managed to remain independent despite its primitive state. One of the advisors, a sharp-minded strategist, stepped forward. "The planet is relatively undeveloped compared to others we've conquered. Their technology is not a threat, and their military forces are weak. However, their resilience could be a challenge." The Supreme Leader's gaze remained fixed on Earth. "That's precisely why it is worth conquering. It will be a show of our power to both our allies and our enemies. We will bring this world into the Empire's embrace and use its resources to further our reach." Another advisor, known for his knowledge of interstellar diplomacy, raised a concern. "But, my lord, we must consider the possibility of resistance. The inhabitants might fight back, even if they are not technologically advanced." The Supreme Leader's face hardened. "Resistance or not, we will proceed with our plans. We have dealt with far tougher situations. Send our fleet to prepare for the invasion. Ensure that the Earth's leaders receive a warning, a single warning. They should know what awaits them if they choose to defy us." Orders were quickly issued, and the wheels of the Empire's grand machinery began to turn. The Galactic Empire's fleet, a massive armada of sleek, formidable warships, started its journey towards Earth. The ships moved silently through the void of space, their engines humming with power as they approached their destination. Back on Earth, the arrival of the Empire's fleet was not yet known. The people of Earth lived their lives under the assumption that their small blue planet was just one among many in the galaxy. Little did they know that their peaceful existence was about to be shattered. On the surface of Earth, life continued as usual. Scientists studied the stars, astronauts prepared for their missions, and people went about their daily routines. The world was not aware of the silent, massive ships speeding towards them from the edge of the galaxy. However, it was not long before the first signs of the impending invasion began to appear. Unusual cosmic signals were detected by observatories around the world. Astronomers, puzzled by these strange signals, tried to make sense of them. They were faint but persistent, coming from deep space. One such observatory, located in the high mountains of Tibet, picked up an anomaly. Dr. Linda Carter, an experienced astrophysicist, noticed a strange pattern in the data. It was unlike anything she had seen before. The signal seemed to be a deliberate transmission, not a random cosmic event. Dr. Carter's curiosity was piqued. She contacted her colleagues and shared her findings. Together, they analyzed the data, trying to determine its origin and purpose. They concluded that the signals were coming from a distant star system, far beyond the reach of known space travel. Meanwhile, the Galactic Empire's fleet continued its journey, hidden by advanced cloaking technology. The Empire's ships moved with precision, each vessel a testament to the Empire's technological prowess. The fleet was vast, with hundreds of ships ready to deploy their powerful weapons and troops upon Earth's surface. The Supreme Leader's plan was to launch a swift and overwhelming invasion. Earth's defenses, though well-intentioned, were no match for the Empire's might. The leaders of the Galactic Empire were confident that the invasion would be quick and decisive. As the fleet neared Earth, the warning message was prepared. It would be a simple, direct communication, informing Earth's leaders of the Empire's intent to conquer their planet. The message was meant to be clear and unambiguous: surrender or face total annihilation. Back on Earth, Dr. Carter's team continued their work, growing increasingly concerned about the signals they had detected. They reached out to government agencies, but their warnings were met with skepticism. The strange signals were deemed a potential glitch or an anomaly, and no immediate action was taken. Little did they know, the fate of Earth was about to change dramatically. The Galactic Empire's fleet was on its final approach, and the only question remaining was how Earth would respond to the impending threat. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test humanity's resolve and determine their place in the galaxy. As the Empire's ships slipped into Earth's orbit, the warning message was sent, marking the beginning of a new chapter in Earth's history. The Galactic Empire had set its sights on Earth, and the time for the planet to face its greatest challenge had arrived. Earth gets the first hintin'. The surface of Earth, life carried on in its usual rhythm. People went about their daily routines, going to work, studying, and enjoying their free time. But far above in the cold void of space, a different story was unfolding. The Galactic Empire's fleet, with its dark and imposing ships, was making its way toward Earth. The fleet was still hidden by its advanced cloaking technology, but subtle signs of its approach were beginning to emerge. In the high mountains of Tibet, nestled among the snow-covered peaks, was a state-of-the-art observatory. Dr. Linda Carter, a respected astrophysicist, worked at this observatory. She and her team were experts in studying the stars and cosmic phenomena. One clear morning, while examining data from their telescopes, Dr. Carter noticed something unusual. The signals they were receiving were not like the typical cosmic noise they encountered. They were rhythmic and seemed to be a deliberate transmission. Dr. Carter adjusted her glasses and leaned closer to her computer screen. The signals had a pattern that hinted at a message rather than random space interference. Her curiosity piqued, she decided to delve deeper into the anomaly. The signals were faint but persistent, coming from a distant star system that had never been explored before. Something doesn't add up, Dr. Carter muttered to herself. She called her colleagues, who were equally intrigued by the unusual signals. Together, they tried to decode the message, but it remained elusive. The signals were encrypted in a way that no one had seen before. Meanwhile, the Galactic Empire's fleet continued its approach, and their cloaked ships began to move closer to Earth. The fleet was a formidable sight, with sleek warships and massive battle cruisers prepared for invasion. The Empire's leaders had issued the warning message, and it was only a matter of time before it reached Earth. Back at the observatory, Dr. Carter and her team were not the only ones noticing strange activity. Other observatories around the world began reporting similar anomalies. The scientific community was abuzz with speculation and concern. Some dismissed the signals as mere glitches, while others, like Dr. Carter, felt there was something more significant at play. As days passed, the signals grew stronger. Dr. Carter decided to reach out to government agencies, hoping that her findings would be taken seriously. She contacted space agencies and military officials, but her warnings were met with skepticism. Many believed that the signals were just cosmic noise or a malfunction in the equipment. Dr. Carter's frustration grew. She had always trusted her instincts, and she was convinced that something important was happening. She continued to analyze the data, working late into the night. Her team's efforts were met with mixed responses, and they struggled to get the attention they needed. In a different part of the world, a young scientist named Alex Thompson worked at a space research facility in Houston, Texas. Alex was known for his sharp analytical skills and passion for space exploration. When he heard about the strange signals from Tibet, he took a keen interest in the reports. Alex decided to conduct his own investigation, using data from multiple sources. He soon found that the signals seemed to be coming from a specific direction in space, and they appeared to be increasing in intensity. His curiosity grew, and he reached out to other scientists and researchers to compare notes. The growing intensity of the signals began to attract more attention. Some researchers started to believe that there might be a genuine threat, while others remained doubtful. The debate continued, but the warnings from Dr. Carter and Alex began to gain traction. As the Galactic Empire's fleet approached Earth, the warning message was sent. It was a brief but powerful communication. The Galactic Empire has set its sights on your planet. You have one opportunity to surrender. Failure to comply will result in your annihilation. The message was clear and menacing, designed to intimidate and pressure Earth into submission. When the message reached Earth, it was intercepted by various space agencies and military communication centers. The content was alarming, and the seriousness of the threat became evident. However, the message's sudden appearance and the timing of the warning left many feeling skeptical. Was this a genuine threat or a hoax? In the midst of this confusion, Dr. Carter and Alex Thompson continued their efforts to alert the authorities. They collaborated with other researchers to present their findings, showing the correlation between the signals and the warning message. Their persistence began to pay off as more officials started to take notice. The international community faced a dilemma. Some leaders and military experts believed that the warning was a serious threat and began preparing for possible defensive actions. Others remained cautious, questioning whether the warning was a sophisticated deception. As the Galactic Empire's fleet positioned itself in Earth's orbit, the tension on the planet grew. People went about their lives with an uneasy sense of foreboding, unaware of the imminent danger. Governments and military leaders scrambled to assess the situation, trying to determine the best course of action. The Galactic Empire's fleet, hidden behind its cloaking technology, loomed large in the shadows of space. The fate of Earth was now in the balance, and the planet's response to the Empire's warning would determine its future. The coming days would reveal whether Earth was ready to confront the threat or if it would succumb to the Empire's ambitions. Dr. Carter and Alex Thompson's warnings had set the stage for the unfolding drama. The first hint of the Empire's presence had been received, and the people of Earth faced a choice that would define their place in the galaxy. The Soul Warning Sentin. The cold, dark void of space, the Galactic Empire's fleet loomed large, hidden by advanced cloaking technology. The massive warships and battle cruisers were a formidable sight, each ship equipped with powerful weapons and technology far beyond what Earth had ever seen. The fleet was ready for action, poised to strike at the heart of a planet that had caught their attention. Back on Earth, the arrival of this fleet was still unknown to most. But in the quiet corners of the world's space agencies and military command centers, the situation was becoming increasingly urgent. The Galactic Empire had issued a single, clear warning to Earth: surrender or face destruction. This warning was not just a simple message. It was a declaration of intent that would soon shake the foundations of human understanding. The warning message, crafted with a mix of precision and intimidation, had been sent to Earth's communication channels. It was brief but carried a heavy weight. The Galactic Empire has set its sights on your planet. You have one chance to surrender. Failure to comply will result in your complete annihilation. The message was direct and left no room for misinterpretation. As the message made its way through the communication networks, it was intercepted by various agencies around the world. The first to receive it were the major space agencies and military communications centers. The message was alarming and unprecedented, stirring panic and confusion among those who read it. The idea of an interstellar empire threatening Earth seemed almost unbelievable, but the seriousness of the message could not be ignored. At the headquarters of NASA, the message was delivered to Dr. Elena Torres, a senior scientist who had spent her career studying space phenomena. She stared at the screen, her heart racing. "This can't be real," she said almost to herself. The message seemed too fantastical to be true, yet the evidence was in front of her. Dr. Torres quickly contacted her colleagues and senior officials. The message was shared with high-level military and government leaders who were equally stunned. An emergency meeting was called to discuss the implications of the warning. The room was filled with tense silence as the leaders tried to grasp the reality of the situation. In a similar fashion, across the Atlantic Ocean at the European Space Agency, the message was received with shock and disbelief. Dr. Marcus Schmidt, a leading space strategist, reviewed the message carefully. "If this is true, we're facing a threat unlike anything we've encountered," he said. "We need to act fast." The news of the warning spread quickly through the scientific and military communities. While some dismissed it as a possible hoax or a sophisticated prank, many took the message seriously. The idea of an advanced alien empire threatening Earth was enough to warrant a serious response. The United Nations convened an emergency session to address the situation. Representatives from countries around the world gathered to discuss the implications of the warning. The atmosphere was tense as leaders debated the best course of action. The warning had created a sense of urgency, and the threat of an invasion loomed large. In the midst of this global crisis, Dr. Linda Carter and Alex Thompson, who had been working tirelessly on analyzing the strange signals and the warning message, were called in to provide their expertise. They presented their findings and stressed the importance of taking the warning seriously. "The signals we detected are real," Dr. Carter explained, "and the warning message aligns with what we've been seeing. The Galactic Empire is a powerful force, and they're not known for making idle threats." Alex Thompson added, "We need to prepare for the worst. Even if the warning turns out to be false, we can't afford to ignore it. The potential consequences are too great." As the meeting progressed, leaders from various nations began to formulate a plan. They decided to coordinate a global defense strategy, combining resources and expertise from different countries. Military forces were put on high alert, and defense systems were tested and reinforced. Meanwhile, the Galactic Empire's fleet continued its approach towards Earth, still hidden behind its cloaking technology. The fleet was a marvel of engineering and power, ready to execute the Empire's plan. The leaders of the Empire were confident in their approach. The warning had been sent, and now it was up to Earth's leaders to decide their response. In the days that followed, the global response to the warning message intensified. Governments around the world issued statements to the public, acknowledging the threat and urging calm. Emergency protocols were put into place, and people were advised to stay informed and prepared for any potential developments. The warning had triggered a flurry of activity and preparation on Earth. Scientists, military experts, and government officials worked around the clock to devise a strategy for dealing with the potential threat. The reality of an impending invasion began to sink in, and the need for unity and resilience became apparent. As Earth's leaders and citizens braced for what lay ahead, the Galactic Empire's fleet remained a looming presence in the dark expanse of space. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation, and the future of Earth hung in the balance. The Galactic Empire had made its intentions clear, and now it was up to humanity to rise to the challenge and defend their world from the unknown threat. Preparing for battle. In the wake of the Galactic Empire's chilling warning, Earth was plunged into a state of heightened alert. Governments, military forces, and scientific communities around the world scrambled to prepare for the looming threat. The planet's response was swift, but the reality of the situation demanded more than just quick fixes. As the days passed, military bases across the globe were put on high alert. Command centers, once filled with routine operations, now buzzed with frantic activity. Officers and soldiers trained harder than ever, practicing drills for every possible scenario. The threat of an interstellar invasion brought a new sense of urgency to their preparations. In the United States, the Pentagon became a hive of activity. General Marcus Hayes, a veteran of countless conflicts, was appointed to oversee the global defense strategy. He knew that the challenge ahead was unprecedented. The Galactic Empire's fleet was unlike anything Earth had ever encountered. General Hayes convened a series of meetings with top military leaders, scientists, and engineers. The goal was to create a coordinated defense plan that could withstand an alien invasion. The meetings were intense, filled with discussions about weapons, defense systems, and the overall strategy for protecting Earth. Dr. Elena Torres, who had been working tirelessly on analyzing the Galactic Empire's capabilities, provided crucial input. She presented her findings on the Empire's advanced technology and potential weaknesses. Her expertise helped shape the defense strategy, focusing on how to counteract the Empire's superior weaponry. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic at the European Space Agency, Dr. Marcus Schmidt worked with his team to enhance Earth's space defense systems. Satellites and space stations were upgraded with new technology designed to detect and intercept any incoming threats. The European nations also contributed their military resources to the global defense effort. In Asia, China's military was mobilized to fortify its defense capabilities. The Great Wall of Space Defense, as it was called, was a network of advanced radar systems and missile launchers aimed at detecting and neutralizing potential threats from space. The Chinese government also worked closely with international allies to share intelligence and resources. As preparations continued, a sense of unity began to emerge among Earth's nations. The threat of the Galactic Empire had brought countries together in a way that had not been seen before. The shared goal of protecting the planet created a new spirit of cooperation and determination. At the same time, scientists and engineers worked around the clock to develop new technologies that could be used against the Empire's fleet. In laboratories and research facilities, teams of experts designed and tested advanced weaponry and defense systems. These new technologies included energy shields, improved missile systems, and experimental space fighters. In the midst of this global mobilization, Dr. Linda Carter and Alex Thompson continued their work. They were focused on understanding the Empire's technology and finding ways to exploit any potential vulnerabilities. Their research was critical to developing effective countermeasures. The United Nations played a crucial role in coordinating the global response. Emergency meetings were held to ensure that all nations were aligned in their efforts. The UN also issued public statements, urging people to remain calm and prepared for any developments. As the date of the potential confrontation approached, the atmosphere on Earth became tense. People went about their daily lives with a sense of unease, knowing that their world was under threat. Governments and military forces continued to prepare for the worst, hoping that their efforts would be enough to defend the planet. In the final days before the anticipated arrival of the Galactic Empire's fleet, a series of test drills were conducted. These drills simulated various scenarios, from an initial attack to full-scale invasion. The goal was to ensure that all systems were functioning properly and that the response would be swift and effective. The drills revealed some gaps in the defense strategy, prompting quick adjustments and improvements. Teams worked tirelessly to address any weaknesses and enhance their readiness. Every detail was scrutinized, from communication protocols to weapon systems. As the last preparations were made, the global defense forces stood ready. The Earth's military forces were united, equipped with the latest technology and armed with a new sense of purpose. The people of Earth were prepared to face the unknown and defend their planet against the Galactic Empire's invasion. In the final hours before the expected arrival of the Empire's fleet, a deep silence fell over the world. Governments and military leaders held their breath, waiting for the first sign of the approaching threat. The Galactic Empire's fleet was still hidden in the darkness of space, its intentions unknown. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation. Earth's defense systems were on high alert, and the global response was ready. The fate of the planet now hinged on the effectiveness of these preparations and the courage of its defenders. As the countdown to the potential battle continued, Earth's leaders and citizens faced an uncertain future. The Galactic Empire had made its intentions clear, and the planet's response would determine whether it could withstand the coming storm. The world held its breath, waiting for the first sign of the impending clash and hoping for a victory that would secure its future. The invasion starts. The calm of the early morning was shattered by a sudden, alarming sight in the sky. Across the globe, people looked up from their daily routines to see a breathtaking and terrifying sight, dark, ominous shapes emerging from the heavens. The Galactic Empire's fleet had arrived. At first, the appearance of the fleet was subtle. The ships, still cloaked in their advanced technology, were barely visible against the backdrop of space. But as they moved closer to Earth, their cloaking systems began to fail, revealing massive warships and battlecruisers descending from the stars. In the United States, General Marcus Hayes was at the command center, his eyes fixed on the large screens displaying live feeds from space. The moment the fleet became visible, alarms blared throughout the command center. Soldiers and officers moved quickly, their training kicking in as they prepared for the worst. "This is it," General Hayes said, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "All units, prepare for immediate action. The invasion has begun." At the European Space Agency, Dr. Marcus Schmidt and his team were equally alarmed. The defensive systems they had worked so hard to build were now facing their first real test. Satellites and radar stations tracked the approaching fleet, and the defense systems were activated. Missiles were launched, and energy shields were deployed, but the scale of the Empire's fleet was overwhelming. The Galactic Empire's fleet moved with precision. The massive warships formed a tight formation, their weapons primed and ready. The ships began to deploy smaller attack crafts, which darted towards Earth with frightening speed. The Empire was not just making a show of force, they were preparing for an all-out assault. In Asia, the Great Wall of space defense was put to the test. The radar systems picked up the incoming attack crafts, and the missile launchers fired in rapid succession. Explosions lit up the sky as the missiles tried to intercept the enemy ships. Some of the attacking crafts were destroyed, but many managed to breach the defenses. Dr. Linda Carter and Alex Thompson, working from a command center, monitored the situation closely. Their research had predicted that the Galactic Empire would use advanced tactics and technology, but seeing it in action was still daunting. They quickly relayed their findings to the global defense forces, suggesting strategies to counter the Empire's attack. As the invasion continued, cities around the world were plunged into chaos. Air raid sirens blared, and people scrambled for shelter. In major cities like New York, London, and Tokyo, the streets were filled with confusion and fear. The impact of the Galactic Empire's invasion was immediate and overwhelming. In New York, skyscrapers shook as the first attacks hit. The Empire's battlecruisers fired powerful energy beams that cut through buildings and infrastructure. The city's defenses were quickly mobilized, but the sheer scale of the assault made it difficult to keep up. London faced a similar situation. The Thames River was choked with debris from damaged ships and buildings. The British military deployed its defenses, but the Empire's technology proved to be highly advanced, and the attacks were relentless. In Tokyo, the Japanese military tried to fend off the invaders with everything they had. The city's defenses, including high-tech anti-aircraft systems and missile launchers, were pushed to their limits. Despite their best efforts, the Empire's attack crafts continued to cause widespread damage. As the battle raged on, the global defense forces struggled to maintain control. The Galactic Empire's strategy was clear: overwhelm Earth's defenses with sheer force and advanced technology. The Empire's warships unleashed wave after wave of attacks, testing the limits of Earth's preparedness. Despite the chaos, there were moments of hope. Soldiers and civilians alike showed incredible bravery and resilience. Teams of engineers and scientists worked tirelessly to repair damaged systems and develop new strategies on the fly. The global response was chaotic but determined. Dr. Carter and Alex Thompson, using their expertise, advised on counterattacks and defensive maneuvers. They identified weak points in the Empire's tactics and provided valuable information to the military. Their insights helped to turn the tide in some areas, allowing Earth's forces to push back against the invaders. The first day of the invasion was brutal and costly. Cities were devastated and the death toll was mounting. But Earth's defenders were not giving up. The global military forces, united in their purpose, continued to fight back with everything they had. As night fell, the invasion showed no signs of letting up. The Galactic Empire's fleet remained a menacing presence in the sky, its ships glowing with energy and power. The battle was far from over, and Earth's forces braced for a long and grueling conflict. The invasion had begun with a ferocity that left no doubt about the Empire's intentions. But Earth had also shown its strength and determination. The fight for survival was just starting, and the outcome was uncertain. The future of the planet now depended on the courage and resilience of its defenders, and the hope that humanity could overcome the formidable threat posed by the Galactic Empire. The Turning Point A's. The days of the Galactic Empire's invasion dragged on. Earth's forces struggled to hold their ground. The once bustling cities now lay in ruins, their skylines marred by the scars of battle. The Galactic Empire's fleet continued its relentless assault, and the situation seemed increasingly dire. But amid the chaos and destruction, a turning point was about to emerge. General Marcus Hayes, though exhausted, refused to give up. In the command center, he pored over the latest reports and tactical updates. His eyes were bloodshot, but his determination was unwavering. The global defense forces were holding their own, but the Empire's superior technology and tactics made every victory hard-fought. "Status report," General Hayes demanded as he reviewed the latest data. One of his officers, Lieutenant Sarah Lopez, stepped forward. "General, our forces have managed to push back some of the Empire's attack crafts in the northern sector. However, their main fleet is still causing significant damage in the southern regions. We've sustained heavy losses, but we're managing to stabilize the situation in a few key areas." General Hayes nodded. "Good work. We need to find a way to turn the tide. What about the new strategies we've been testing?" Dr. Elena Torres and Alex Thompson had been working on new countermeasures to combat the Empire's advanced technology. Their research had led to some promising developments, including a new type of energy shield and a modified missile system designed to penetrate the Empire's defenses. "The new energy shields are holding up better than expected," Dr. Torres reported. "We've also managed to develop a missile that seems to be more effective against their hulls. But we need more time to deploy these systems across all sectors. In a remote research facility, Dr. Carter and her team were finalizing the deployment of these new systems. Their work was crucial, and they worked around the clock to ensure that the defenses were ready. Every minute counted, and the pressure was immense. Meanwhile, in the midst of the devastation, there was a glimmer of hope. Reports began to surface of unexpected successes. In some areas, Earth's forces had managed to inflict significant damage on the Empire's fleet. These successes were often small, but they were enough to lift the spirits of the beleaguered defenders. In the devastated city of Tokyo, a squadron of fighter pilots led by Captain Hiroshi Tanaka achieved a breakthrough. They had managed to outmaneuver the Empire's attack crafts and destroy several key targets. Their success provided a much-needed morale boost to the city's defenders. "We're not giving up," Captain Tanaka shouted over the comms as his squadron engaged the enemy. "Push forward! We're making a difference." The fight in Tokyo was fierce, but the pilots' bravery inspired others. The stories of the turning point came when Earth's forces, armed with their new technology, managed to execute a daring counterattack. The Galactic Empire's fleet had grown overconfident, and their formations were becoming predictable. The new missile systems and energy shields were deployed in a coordinated effort to exploit these weaknesses. The operation was led by General Hayes and his top commanders. They launched a series of strategic strikes against the Empire's fleet, targeting key ships and critical infrastructure. The attacks were precise and devastating, disrupting the Empire's command and control systems. Dr. Torres and her team monitored the results closely. "We're seeing significant damage to their fleet," she reported. "The new systems are working better than we hoped. We might have a chance to turn this around." The Empire's fleet, once so formidable, began to falter. The coordinated attacks from Earth's forces had caused confusion and disarray among the invaders. Ships that had once been nearly invulnerable were now taking heavy losses. The turning point was marked by a pivotal battle over the Atlantic Ocean. Earth's forces, using their new technology and tactics, managed to repel a major offensive from the Empire's fleet. The battle was fierce, but the resilience and ingenuity of Earth's defenders shone through. As the Empire's ships retreated, a sense of relief and triumph spread among the defenders. The tide of the battle had shifted, and Earth's forces had proven that they could stand against the Galactic Empire. The victory was hard-earned, but it provided a crucial boost to the morale of the global defense forces. Back at the command center, General Hayes and his team took a moment to regroup. The victory was a significant achievement, but the battle was far from over. The Galactic Empire's fleet was still formidable, and the fight was far from won. "We've made progress," General Hayes said, "but we need to stay vigilant. The Empire will not give up easily." Let's use this momentum to push forward and protect our planet. The global defense forces, reinvigorated by their success, continued their preparations and counterattacks. The turning point had provided a much-needed boost, but the war was ongoing. Earth's defenders remained determined to secure their future and ensure that their planet would not fall to the Galactic Empire. As the conflict continued, the people of Earth held their breath, hoping for a decisive victory. The turning point had shown that humanity was capable of standing against even the most advanced threats. The fight for survival continued, and the future of the planet depended on the courage and resilience of its defenders. Aftermath and new beginnings. The battle against the Galactic Empire had been fierce and costly, but as the smoke cleared and the remnants of the invasion began to settle, a new chapter in Earth's history was about to begin. The aftermath of the conflict was a time of reflection, rebuilding, and hope for a better future. As dawn broke over the war-torn landscapes, the once bustling cities lay in ruins, their streets empty and silent. The Galactic Empire's retreat had left a profound impact on the planet, but the people of Earth were determined to rise from the ashes. The global defense forces, exhausted but victorious, began the arduous task of assessing the damage and planning for recovery. General Marcus Hayes, though weary, was a symbol of strength for his troops. He walked through the command center, where the walls were lined with maps and strategic displays showing the results of the recent battles. Despite the devastation, there was a sense of accomplishment and resolve in the air. "Good work, everyone," General Hayes said, addressing his team. "We've fought hard and earned our victory. Now our mission is to help our people rebuild and ensure that we're ready for any future threats." The global response to the aftermath was swift. Governments around the world began mobilizing resources to address the immediate needs of their citizens. Relief efforts were launched to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those affected by the invasion. The United Nations coordinated international assistance, ensuring that aid reached the most devastated areas. In the United States, teams of engineers and construction workers were dispatched to clear debris and begin rebuilding efforts. Cities like New York and Los Angeles, which had suffered extensive damage, faced a long road to recovery. But the spirit of resilience and unity among the people was palpable. In Europe, the European Space Agency and national governments worked together to repair and upgrade the space defense systems. The conflict had exposed vulnerabilities, and there was a commitment to improving Earth's readiness for future threats. New technologies were developed, and defensive measures were enhanced to prevent any future invasions. In Asia, countries like Japan and China focused on rebuilding their infrastructure and supporting their citizens. The Great Wall of Space Defense was reinforced, and new collaborative projects were initiated to strengthen global space defenses. The shared experience of the invasion had forged stronger ties between nations. Dr. Elena Torres and Alex Thompson continued their work, analyzing the results of the battle and refining their technologies. Their efforts had played a crucial role in the turning point of the conflict, and now they were focused on ensuring that Earth's defenses were even more robust. Their research into the Galactic Empire's technology provided valuable insights for future advancements. Dr. Carter and her team, working tirelessly in their research facility, studied the remnants of the Empire's technology. They hoped to understand more about the invaders' capabilities and ensure that Earth's defenses could adapt to any future threats. Their work was critical to maintaining the planet's security. As the world began to heal, people from different nations came together to support each other. The invasion had shown the strength of humanity's spirit and the power of unity. In the face of adversity, people had found common ground and worked together to overcome the challenge. Communities organized events and gatherings to honor the bravery of those who had defended Earth. Memorials were erected to remember those who had lost their lives in the conflict. The stories of heroism and resilience became a source of inspiration for future generations. The aftermath of the invasion also led to significant changes in how Earth approached international cooperation and defense. The experience had highlighted the need for a unified approach to global security. New treaties and agreements were established to ensure that countries could work together more effectively in the face of future threats. In the political arena, leaders from around the world came together to form a new coalition dedicated to planetary defense. The coalition aimed to coordinate efforts, share information, and develop strategies to protect Earth from any potential dangers. The lessons learned from the Galactic Empire's invasion were applied to create a more secure and prepared world. As the years passed, the scars of the invasion began to heal, but the memory of the conflict remained a powerful reminder of humanity's resilience. The rebuilding efforts transformed the damaged cities into symbols of strength and recovery. The global community continued to work together to build a brighter future. The Galactic Empire's invasion had been a test of Earth's unity and determination. The aftermath of the conflict was marked by a renewed sense of purpose and hope. The world had faced a formidable threat and emerged stronger, more connected, and better prepared for the challenges ahead. In the quiet moments of reflection, the people of Earth looked back on the invasion as a turning point in their history. It was a time when humanity came together to defend their home and forge a new path forward. The experience had taught valuable lessons about the strength of unity and the importance of resilience. As Earth moved into a new era, the global defense forces and the people of the planet remained vigilant. They knew that the universe was vast and full of unknowns, but they also knew that they were capable of facing any challenge that came their way. The future was uncertain, but the spirit of humanity was stronger than ever. The invasion had ended, but the story of Earth's survival and recovery was just beginning. The world had faced its darkest hour and emerged with a renewed sense of hope and determination. The legacy of the conflict was one of courage, unity, and the unwavering belief that humanity could overcome any obstacle.